Alright, welcome to this episode of my playthrough of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. We have reunited with Yennefer, and we've had an audience with Emperor Emhyr van Emrys, which was really interesting. He revealed that Ciri has been seen, she's returned, and the Emperor wants to find her. And Yennefer's been looking for her for a while using magic, but the Wild Hunt detected the magic searching. And so now Yennefer's come to the best tracker she knows, us, to try and find Ciri. So without any further ado, let's get going. She Who Knows. Folks say they were four at first. The mother, she who knows, the Lady of the Wood, came here from a faraway land, and since she suffered terribly from loneliness, she made 3 daughters out of dirt and water. A long, long time ago, the mother was the sole ruler of all of Elen. Her daughters brought her the people's requests and served as her voice. Each spring, sacrifices of grain, animals, and men were made to the Lady of the Wood on her special night. Yet as the years passed, Lady of the Wood slipped deeper and deeper into madness. Her madness eventually spread over the land. Men took to abandoning their homes and setting out into the bog, where they became food for beasts. Before long, Velen was drowning in blood. The daughters saw their land nearing destruction and took it upon themselves to save it. When spring came once more, and with the night of sacrifices, they killed their mother and buried her in the bog. Her blood watered the oak atop Ard Serbin, and from then on the tree grew wholesome and hearty fruit for the people. As for the lady's immortal soul, it refused to leave its beloved land, and so the sisters imprisoned it. To this day, it lies trapped beneath the Whispering Hillock, where it thrashes about in powerless rage. Lovely! Royal Lineages of the North. Cyrilla Fiona Ellen Rhiannon, born 1251, heiress to the throne of Sintra, Princess of Bruges and Duchess of Sodden, heiress to Innis Ard Skellig and Innis An Skellig, and suzerain of Attre and Ab Yara, daughter of Pavetta, see Pavetta Fiona Ellen, and the urchin of Erlenwald, see Emhyr van Emrys, granddaughter of the famous lioness of Sintra, Queen Calanth, see Calanth Fiona Rhiannon. The shipwreck occurred during a journey from Sintra to Skellig, or Skelliga, as we now know it's pronounced, which took the lives of the urchin and Pavetta. Cyrilla's further upbringing was then entrusted to her grandmother. In 1260, afraid of the looming Nilfgaardian threat, Queen Calanth sent Cyrilla to the court of King Ervil, see Ervil of Verdun, where the heiress of Sintra was to marry the heir to the throne of Verdun, Prince Kistrin, see Kistrin of Verdun. Although allying with Verdun and gaining the aid of that realm's army was at the time Calanth's top priority, no marriage ever occurred, and Cyrilla returned to her grandmother's court. In 1262, during the so-called Sintra massacre, Cyrilla went missing. The Wild Hunt. Well, this might offer some insights. From farmers and herdsmen, milkmen to midwives, all the common folk of the continent whisper, sharing tales of a wraithly possession pounding across the sky. The Wild Hunt, they call it. Winds and gales, storms and blizzards arise when it is sighted, and all grows cold, though the sun shone bright moments before. Some remember only the cold from the shock of the encounter and claim the riders come always in winter. But nay, this is not so. The hunt brings its own ice. Death and war gallop in its wake, or so the superstition goes. Yet evil enough is the hunt itself. It takes folk captive, youths, most often in the prime of their wilding years. With 10 to 20 summers behind them, the hunt rushes in and they disappear, only to return long years later with no memory of what passed in the time in between. A Sword for Witches. This is the same one. I've already read that one last episode. Rusty Bread Knife. And that's what she looks like now, apparently.
Scars healed nicely.
The collected verse of Gonzalo de Verso. Or Verceo. There we go. Love. To love is to build a house of cards or play a game of chess, but one wrong word or ill-thought move and you must start it all afresh. Tide. Whenever I watch the tide recede, could cold coils of fear grip round my heart. Will the seas sneak back calm and sure in the dark of night as they have before, or will they stay on distant shores, leaving crushed shells and washed-up dreams as memory surfs of yore? That is apparently the collected verse. Whole 2 poems. There is much to see here. It's the same as on the other table, apparently. Apple juice and a silver mug. Maybe they go together. The last wish. Human life requires 3 things for sustenance: food, drink, and gossip. It is thus no wonder that no matter where I travel, be it icebound Povis or even evergreened Toussaint, everyone asks me about the passions that bind Geralt and the sorceress Yennefer of Vengerberg. As a man both cautious and discreet, I refuse to betray their secrets, with one important exception. The history of their first encounter is so extraordinary, so romantic and moving, that it would be a veritable crime to hide its light beneath a bushel basket. Indeed, had I not witnessed these events in person, I would never believe there was room in our grim and dark world for such fantastic marvels. It all began when Geralt and I were feeling a bit peckish and, unburdened by heavy coin pouches, decided to fish our supper out of a lake. No bites were to be had, but we did not leave empty-handed. My hook snagged quite a lovely little pot. Oblivious to my friend's warnings, I opened it, and in doing so freed a powerful djinn. Without giving it much thought, I set about proclaiming my wishes. Before I could get to 3, however, the djinn, irritated, I see now in hindsight, at being issued demands so soon after waking, began to throttle me. Geralt was able to drive him off, but I was left in a sorry state. I acted, the Witcher told me later, as though under the influence of some curse. Clearly, the help of an expert in the magic arcana would be needed. It was our good fortune that Yennefer of Vengerberg happened to be staying at a nearby village. Geralt went to her to ask her that she heal his best friend, who happened to also be the brightest star in the North's poetic firmament. Yennefer, however, was more interested in the djinn, which she wanted to trap into magic servitude than in its victim, and, it should be said, played the Witcher like a well-strung mandolin. Yet rather than grow angry at being used in such a calculating manner, he fell white head over muddy boots in love with her. What happened then? Well, I won't go into details. Suffice to say that Yennefer's plans hardly delighted the djinn, and without its cooperation she proved unable to tame it. The sorceress would surely have met a tragic end and taken all of Rinda along with her had Geralt not rushed to her rescue. For once he did not need to draw either of his blades to send the djinn packing. He had but to pronounce the 3rd and final wish. He could have asked for anything, wealth, fame, power, but instead he asked the djinn to bind his fate to that of the arrogant yet intriguing sorceress from Vengerberg. Julian Alfred Pankratz, Viscount of Lettenhove, born 1232, award-winning poet, playwright, and troubadour, frequent performer at the courts of Nidomir, Vizimir, Venslav, and many other nobles and notables, alumnus of Oxenford Academy. A sword for witches, again, same, all over again. A portrayal of the elder races. Should be interesting. What is a non-human? The answer is simple. As the very name suggests, it is something which resembles and yet nevertheless is not a human. Though it walks on 2 legs, speaks a tongue similar to our own, and dresses in similar attire, it all the same has more in common with base beast than noble man. Dwarves are like moles. They feel best underground and avoid direct sunlight. They like to live in filth, forever smudging themselves in mud and slime. They love everything that can be found within the earth, rocks, metal, minerals of all shape and color. It is also said that, like their kindred moles, they feed most readily on worms, roaches, and other night crawlers. Halflings, for their part, are more reminiscent of gophers, fat, lazy, and loud in that typical rodent way. Their minds are filled only with thoughts of food and drink, which they steal from other nobler beasts and greedily squirrel away in their hovels. They are marked by a cruel craftiness. You could be dying of hunger, and they would not share a meal with you. You could be howling from poverty, and they could be swimming in gold, yet they would still fleece you to the last crown. You could do nothing but good to them, and they would still stab a knife in your back. Elves, in turn, seem related to the birds of prey that dwell in far-off Zerrikania. They care most for colored feathers. They would most readily spend all day staring at their reflections in the water and singing their own praises. They are so awash in self-love that they no longer feel any desire towards members of the opposite sex of their own species. Their appearance, unquestionably pleasant to the eye, is highly misleading, for they are extraordinarily cruel, and any who judge them by looks alone, they first dupe and then kill in cold blood. The best proof of this, the so-called Scotiatel bandits that claim to fight for freedom, but in truth only long to kill humans. All these vile so-called elder races are, to our great fortune, slowly dying out. Joy fills the heart of every right-thinking man at the thought that his great-grandchildren will never know them, that in their day dwarves, halflings, and elves will be mere fairy tale characters used to scare young, impressionable children. This guy's an asshole. Now, Yennefer recommended that we talk to this person to find out what's been going on in the world while we've been out in the wild.
Ambassador Attre, Yennefer suggested I ask you about current events, the war and so on.
Of course. The Emperor's servants should keep no secrets from each other. If you will, let us approach the map.
I guess we'll start at the top and work our way down.
How's the war going? I mean, apart from the fact that Nilfgaard's triumph is imminent.
I assume this to be a private conversation. We've no witnesses, so let's dispense with the propaganda, even that shrouded in irony. Our offensive was going splendidly until winter came. Edirn was in such disarray that we encountered no resistance. We had reached the Pontar before the first snows. Only a weakened Kedwen remained, and Radovid's Redania, which had ignored the rest of the North's pleas for help. We thought they'd sue for peace, perhaps even submit to vassalization. We waited for spring, certain of victory.
Radovid? Submit?
Yes, a vain hope, I agree. Radovid sent no peace envoy, nor did he advance on our positions. Instead, he trudged over the snow-bound Kestrel Mountains and attacked Kedwen, his ally. This attack took the Kedweni by surprise. They were still mourning the loss of their king. Rudderless and dejected, they laid down their arms after a few lost skirmishes and joined Radovid. And so by spring, instead of two weak enemies, we had only one powerful one.
That admiration I hear in your voice?
Radovid is our foe, but I cannot deny he is clever. He played us for fools, particularly dense ones at that. Returning to the war, this spring there was a massive battle in the marshes of Velen. Massive, yet indecisive. Both sides suffered enormous losses, unprecedented even. Radovid has retreated across the Pontar. He's safe for now, until reinforcements arrive from the south. Then Emperor Emir var Emrys will deal with him once and for all.
Couldn't you just go home? Save everyone a lot of marching, not to mention a few human lives.
I'm afraid the stakes are too high to fold now. We can only go all in.
How do things look in Velen?
As bad as ever. Perhaps worse. This land never flowed with milk and honey, and now it flows with blood. Armies have swept through it several times, trampling fields, looting granaries, burning villages. Famine grips the populace.
So how's ruling that earthly paradise going for you?
Not well, to be honest. Our forces are spread thin as it is, and Velen is chiefly swampy forests that are difficult to control. We've had several patrols never return to their camps. Thus, we've temporarily delegated authority in this region to a certain Nordling, a former low-ranking officer in the Temerian army, one Philip Strenger. better known by his nom de guerre, the Bloody Baron. I advise you well. Avoid him.
Any news from Novigrad? Is the free city still free?
Yes, although everyone knows this won't last. Radovid is in Oxenford, and the Emperor is here in Vizima, at Novigrad's doorstep, both. And both require coin and ships, and Novigrad can provide these. Which is why the mood in the city is rather, well, on edge.
Meaning?
How do men deal with fear? They seek reassurance and scapegoats. The Church of the Eternal Fire understands this perfectly, and so it promises to improve the lives of its flock by pointing out the guilty. Who started the war? Who profits from it? Why, it's obvious. Mages, elves, dwarves, in a word, any and all deviants. I've been stationed in Novigrad for 13 years. First as a consul, then as ambassador. I've seen a great deal. Cruelty, cynicism, greed. But what is happening there now concerns me greatly.
What's new in Skellige?
Nothing. The islanders pride themselves on that, don't they? Doing everything according to tradition, as their forefathers did. And like their forefathers, they quarrel with each other, pillage, occasionally attack our transports. This is cumbersome, but nothing more. Skellige has always been a footnote to history, and so it shall remain.
Sound awfully confident. What if King Bran manages to unite the Jarls? Lead all the clans against your fleet?
King Bran is a feeble old man. From what I know, he barely remembers the names of his own vassals. Uniting all might prove difficult.
Thanks for your help.
Think nothing of it. May the great sun light your path.
Oops, I accidentally walked into him. Though I've noticed that tends to happen after conversation, so it may be just a glitch in the game. Or a unpolished element.
How might I serve the gentleman?
By returning my things.
Citrus and cloves. The fragrance will keep the gentleman's robes fresh somewhat longer.
Thanks, bunches.
The Emperor is not known for his patience. He wants his daughter back safe and sound, as soon as possible.
Yeah, mentioned something of the sort. So long.
En med detta måste ett SN Novigrad.
Well, I'm going to take a quick look at the map here. To switch to continent view, press triangle. Okay. To return to the map of the region where you are currently located, press triangle. To open the map of a given region, move the cursor over that region and press X. So White Orchard, of course, over here. Skellige Isles. The Duchy of Toussaint. Royal Palace in Vizima is where we are. Velen, no Man's Land, and Novigrad. Kaer Morhen's up here. Kaer Morhen meaning... Oh, there's a description. Kaer Morhen meaning Keep of the Sea of Yore is home to a school of witchers. Years ago, the keep was destroyed and its inhabitants murdered during a massive pogrom. Currently, only a handful of witchers winter here before setting out again on the path. Suggested level 19. Well, I am level 4, so no. Novigrad. Once part of Redania, Novigrad now has the status of a free city. It is the world's largest city and, without a doubt, the richest as well. Cradle of the cult of the Eternal Fire, it is now home to the church of the same name. It is ruled officially by the head of the church, referred to as the Hierarch, though its underworld crime bosses also have a great deal of say in matters. Suggested level 10. Velen, No Man's Land. The former Temerian province of Velen has become a war-ravaged no man's land, suggested level 5. White Orchard. This well-to-do village is famous for its fruit orchards whose boughs burst out in white blossoms come spring, suggested level 1. That's why we started there. The Skellige Isles. The Skellige Archipelago is home to fierce warrior sailors whom Continentals regard as pirates, and not without reason. For the isles are barren and their inhabitants' livelihood comes mainly from plundering the seas. The land on these 5 large isles is divided between its clans, the heads of which are called Jarls, or Harls, or Jarls, however they say that. Suggested level 16. The Duchy of Toussaint, a vassal duchy of Nilfgaard, widely considered a beautiful fable-like land where everyone is eternally tipsy. Royal Palace in Vizima, one-time home of the Kings of Temeria, currently occupied by Nilfgaard, suggested level 2. There is a quest mark available here, so let's talk to that.
Ninta mir deitra.
That's just white myrtle.
A
A Nilfgaardian nobleman. Oh, we can play Gwent. Yeah, sure, why not? To place a bet, choose an amount using the left analog stick and confirm it by pressing the X button. This amount will be added to the pot. If you win, you'll get back twice as much. They recommended 5, so sure, let's go with 5. It's a small bet.
Wouldn't mind a few rounds of cards.
Welcome to the Gwent Deck Builder. Gwent players use their own customized decks. Use this panel to manage your decks. You can build one deck for each of the 4 factions: Nilfgaard, Northern Realms, Monsters, and Scotia Tale. Use L1 and R1 to switch between factions. Each faction features a number of unique cards that encourage a different style of play. Each faction also has a faction perk. Nilfgaard wins any round that ends in a draw. Northern Realms grants an extra card after every victorious round. Scotia Tale decides who takes the first turn of a battle, and monsters keep a random unit card on the battlefield after each round. Each deck has one leader. Press square to see the leaders available for the currently viewed faction. Press X to choose the highlighted leader card. Each leader has a unique ability. Use it to turn the tide of battle in your favor. Leader cards that you do not own are locked. They will be available for you to use once you acquire them. All the cards you own, which can be used with this faction, are shown here. Cards currently in this faction's deck appear here. A deck must consist of at least 22 unit cards. It can also contain up to 10 special cards. You can include more than 22 unit cards in your deck, but remember that doing so decreases your chances of drawing your most powerful cards. Your deck is currently 2 unit cards short, as indicated by the red number. You must move 2 unit cards from your collection left side to the faction's current deck right side. Alright, well let's go... So Northern Realms, Scotia Tale, Monsters, Nilfgaardian Empire, Northern Realms. It seems like Northern Realms is going to be the best thing for me to go with because just because of a lack of cards. So, let's, well, I mean, might as well go strong if I gotta go. So let's go for the Zoltan Shivet. Exiting the deck builder, you can now exit the deck builder by pressing circle. When in the deck builder before a match, press triangle to begin playing or circle to quit and forfeit the match. Alright, so... So we got All cards, close combat, ranged combat, siege unit, hero cards, weather cards, and special cards. Well, why don't we get rid of... There's a poor fucking infantry is the name of one of the cards. So let's get rid of one of them and replace the poor fucking infantry. Actually, first of all, I want to tight bond placed next to a card with the same name to double the strength of both cards. Okay, but I can get double with one card by going with Yarp and Zigrin. There we go. Alright, so let's look at the leaders available. I don't have any other leaders available. Let's start the game. I will go first. Okay. So redraw. So let's see. I can redraw up to 2. So we've got Biting Frost, Impenetrable Fog, Clear Weather, Kadawani Siege Expert, Blue Stripes Commando, 2 of them. Vess. So actually, I should read the descriptions. Biting Frost, same. I've read that one before. Impenetrable Fog, a good commander's dream, a bad one's horror. Clear Weather, the sun's shining, Drommel, the sun's shining. Maybe there's hope left after all. Kadawani Siege Expert, I've read that one. Blue Stripes Commando, I do anything for Temeria. Mostly, though, I kill for her. Vess, better to live one day as a king than a whole life as a beggar. Prince Stennis, he plowin' wears golden armor. Golden, course he's an arsehole. So his special ability is Spy. Place on your opponent's battlefield, counts towards opponent's total, and draw 2 cards from your deck. I don't know that that's a good thing, but it's a thing. Dun Banner Medic, stitch red to red, white to white, and everything will be alright. It's a siege thing. Medic, choose 1 card from your discard pile and play it instantly. No heroes or special cards. And a Ballista. So I've got pretty much entirely melee and siege. So... yeah, let's go with it. Oh damn, I should have redrawn the Kadawani Siege Expert, this guy here. Oh well, those guys work together and double their ability. Dude, they just got rid of both of my cards. That's cheap. You know, rather than spending my cards, I'm going to pass this round and see what they do. But that brings them down to the same 6 cards that I had. Dang. That's a level 10 card. What is my leader ability? Pick an impenetrable fog card from your deck and play it instantly. I might have to do that. So the Dunebanner Aromatic lets me draw. In addition to being a 5 siege, it lets me... Yeah, let's do the melee. Let's spread it out a little bit. No, Ballista. Wait, what does that one do? Swap with a card on the battlefield to return it to your hand. Alright. God damn. How many 10-point cards does this guy have? Well, let's use the leader card, because it'll ruin that 10-point card he just put in the range mode. Okay, so he's passed. I'm currently at a higher point, so there's no point playing any more cards. And since I won the round, that because I'm a Northern Realms person, it allows me to draw a card. There we go. And it's a ranged one, so it's a good thing I used my leader ability in that round. Okay, so what are we going to do? We are going to... I only got melee and range, so... Oh, dude, I totally shouldn't have got this guy, because he can only play it on the other side. Dude, they just doubled that ability. Well, I lose. Straight up, that's how it is. Actually, no, I should have played the spy, maybe. Oh well. Because then it would let me get 2 more cards. Well, you know what? I'm going to call an end to the episode here. You know the drill. Click over there and join me next time. Maybe we'll try it again, and we'll see how that goes. See you then.